Oman is the land where desert meets open sea, where glowing red mountains embrace valleys as green as woven carpets. It is a country of quiet beauty and deep allure, making visitors feel as if they are stepping into an ancient world that still breathes. Within its gentle rhythm, Oman appears through small streets, scented with frankincense, roads curving along mountain slopes, and clean air drifting softly through every corner. Everything moves at a calm pace, creating a way of life lighter than the rush found elsewhere. Farther from the cities, Oman transforms into a realm of stone peaks, narrow gorges revealing blue water, and sand dunes stretching toward the horizon. Each landscape carries its own breath, both wild and tender, like the whisper of nature itself. Oman is a journey into stillness, a land where life slows down, opening space for people to listen more deeply and rediscover a peace they thought they had lost. The Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque is the most important sanctuary in Oman, inaugurated in the year 2001 after nearly 6 years of construction. It was designed to serve as the religious and educational center of the nation, with the capacity to hold more than 20,000 worshippers at a time. Many scholars view it as a landmark, marking the beginning of a modern era that still preserves the full Islamic identity of Oman. A defining feature of the mosque is its open academic space, accessible to all. Weekly Quran lectures, discussions, and research programs draw both locals and international visitors. The vast grounds are surrounded by green gardens, keeping the air cooler during Muscat's intense summer months. Visitors often remember the long corridor stretching nearly 1,000 feet, where passing winds create a sense of calm. Some corners of the grounds display ancient manuscript copies of the Quran, considered valuable archives for the regional Islamic community. The Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque is more than a place of worship. It is a point where knowledge, faith, and the spiritual life of Oman come together, reminding everyone that peace always begins with a heart turned toward the light. Jebel Akhdar is the prominent rocky plateau of the Al-Hajjah Range, located in central Oman, with multi-level terrain spread across significant elevation. Its ancient rock layers have been uplifted and weathered over long periods, revealing a complex geological structure rare in the region. Across the slopes, natural terraces appear intermittently. Local communities have adapted them into small agricultural plots, showing long-standing resilience in working with steep ground and limited flatland. These terraces resemble steps carved from a massive block of stone, used in a way that remains harmonious with the landscape. The paths along Jebel Akhdar follow long fractures in the rock surface. In some sections, the terrain opens into ledges looking down into deep valleys where the shifting layers of rock can be clearly observed along the vertical walls. For this reason, Jebel Akhdar is regarded as a plateau shaped by both geology and generations of human adaptation. It is a place where landforms and livelihood come together, creating enduring value for the mountains of Oman. Wahiba Sands is the vast desert region of eastern Oman, stretching more than 6,000 square miles, with towering dunes that shift in color from pale yellow to deep red. It is one of the clearest examples of wind-shaped landforms, where layers of sand move slowly and reshape the dunes day by day. The climate in Wahiba Sands is harsh yet consistent, allowing many species to adapt to the hot, dry environment. In some lower areas, shallow groundwater creates small patches of vegetation, becoming rare sources of life for desert animals passing through. Dunes rising hundreds of feet form soft, sweeping contours when viewed from afar. Wind brushing across the sand leaves a faint sound, while shifting sunlight causes the dune colors to change throughout the day. By late afternoon, the entire landscape takes on a rich bronze hue. For this reason, Wahiba Sands is seen as a symbol of vastness and stillness, where the nature of Oman reveals the power of wind, sand, and the quiet movements that have shaped the region for centuries. Nizwa Fort is the central fortress of Oman's interior, built in the 17th century on a position that controlled the routes leading into the Nizwa Valley. Its round tower, rising nearly 115 feet, forms the structure's distinctive image and once served as an important landmark for communities in the area. The fort sits at the junction of routes connecting the Al-Hajar Mountains with the plains. Thanks to this position, it once played a role in monitoring trade activity and coordinating the movement of camel caravans. Building the fortress on elevated ground reflects the strategic spatial control practiced by the inland population. The open ground surrounding the fort provides a wide view of Nizwa. From here, one can see the old neighborhoods and the traditional market that once formed the commercial heart of the region. The natural layout of the valley shows how the city developed along trade lines stretching across central Oman. For this reason, Nizwa Fort stands as a symbol of organization and authority in the interior, where terrain and strategic vision combined to maintain Nizwa's stability through generations. Wadi Darbat is a prominent valley in the Dhofar region, where water flows year-round and forms a chain of natural pools between limestone mountains. During the monsoon season, increased water volume creates long streams running through the valley, producing a landscape very different from the dry terrain across most of southern Oman. The water in Wadi Darbat comes from underground springs in the nearby mountains. As the flow gathers in the valley, it creates shallow wetlands that attract many animal species and keep the lakeside vegetation stable. This is why the valley remains green for much of the year. Viewpoints from the mountain slopes reveal the entire valley stretching across multiple layers of terrain. As the water moves over various rock sections, it forms flat pools that clearly show changes in depth and color at different points. For this reason, Wadi Darbat is regarded as one of Dhofar's most vibrant natural spaces, where water, rock, and vegetation create a rare landscape in southern Oman. Bimmah Sinkhole is a well-known natural collapse in Oman, located within the limestone terrain east of Muscat. The sinkhole measures nearly 300 feet across, formed when the upper rock layer caved in and revealed a distinctive blue pool. The mix of seawater seepage and fresh water from underground springs creates the rare jade color found in this otherwise arid region. What draws visitors most is the clarity of the water. Thanks to the continuous exchange between underground springs and a light flow from the sea, the water level stays stable throughout the year. Subtle shifts in sunlight cause the color to change from pale blue to deep turquoise at different times of day. For this reason, Bimmah Sinkhole stands as a clear example of Oman's geological strength, where time, water, and rock combine to shape a natural destination that is both unusual and captivating. Mughsail Beach is a prominent shoreline of the Dhofar region, stretching along a wide, straight coast between bright sand and large, sea-facing cliffs. Its open exposure to the Indian Ocean brings strong winds throughout the year and creates a sea surface that changes noticeably from hour to hour. The most striking feature of Mughsail is the blowholes formed within the rock channels. When strong waves push into the deep grooves, water is forced upward into columns that rise and fall with each surge. This natural phenomenon can be observed clearly from close range and is the defining characteristic of the beach. On higher ground near the cliff edges, the view opens directly to the sea without obstruction. From these points, the full length of the beach and the movement of each wave layer against the rock walls can be seen clearly. The continuous crashing of waves forms a strong and steady ambient sound. For this reason, Mughsail Beach holds the value of a vivid and easily observable natural landscape where wind, water, and terrain combine to create the powerful character of the Dhofar coast. Qurum Natural Park is the largest urban park in Muscat, covering about 400 acres, created to provide a green balance to the city's rapid development. It gathers a lake, natural wetlands, and small conservation areas, helping preserve the native ecosystem that once surrounded the Gulf. The most notable feature of the park is the large central lake. During migration seasons, many bird species from the Arabian Peninsula and East Africa stop here, making it a familiar observation point for nature enthusiasts. Shaded walkways lead through flower gardens and shallow ponds. In the afternoon, local families come to relax in air cooler than most of Muscat, while children play in the recreation area near the lake. Qurum Natural Park is more than a resting place. It stands as proof of Muscat's effort to preserve its green spaces, reminding us that even in the desert, nature can endure when people choose to protect these precious stretches of land. Nizwa Souq is the historic market that played a crucial role in the inland trade of Oman, where goods from many regions once gathered before spreading across the central areas. The market is arranged in connected rows of stalls, preserving the traditional layout maintained through generations of merchants. The spice section forms the most distinctive imprint. Baskets of herbs, frankincense, and blended spices are displayed in layers, recalling the goods that once traveled along old camel routes. Their aroma drifts lightly through the walkways, creating a unique atmosphere often regarded as the signature scent of Nizwa Souq. The handicraft area reflects the long-standing skills of Omani artisans. Silverwork, fired pottery, and traditional tools are crafted using ancient methods, showing the endurance of these crafts even at the heart of a trading center. For this reason, Nizwa Souq is seen as a space preserving the old rhythm of Oman's interior life. The market connects goods, memories, and culture, forming a lasting identity for Nizwa across generations. Wadi Bani Khalid is one of Oman's most famous water valleys, stretching through the Sharqiya Mountains with a chain of natural pools that remain wide and stable throughout the year. Thanks to strong underground springs, the area stays green continuously, making it one of the rare lush landscapes in the dry eastern region. The water in Wadi Bani Khalid comes from deep mountain aquifers. Its steady flow allows the central pool to maintain a consistent depth, creating an environment for many native plant species. The clarity of the water is often seen by locals as a sign that the underground system remains active even during extended heat. The pathway through the valley is fairly level. About 1 mile inward, visitors encounter wide pools surrounded by large rock formations. Echoes from the cliff walls create a sense of complete separation from the outside world. For this reason, Wadi Bani Khalid is considered one of the clearest examples of the power of Oman's underground water, where a persistent flow can sustain an entire green valley in the midst of harsh, rocky terrain. Misfat Al Abriyeen is an ancient village on the slopes of Al Hamra, formed by generations of residents who lived on spring water and stone pathways. Its highland position creates a network of narrow routes that cling to the mountain, reflecting the long-term adaptation of the community to the steep interior terrain of Oman. The Falaj water system is the defining feature of Misfat. Water from the mountain slopes is divided into small channels to sustain agricultural plots, showing how residents optimized limited water resources in a dry environment. Stone paths winding along uneven terraces open into views over the valley. The old steps reveal a long history of settlement and the persistence of the community in shaping a stable living space within the mountains. For this reason, Misfat Al Abriyeen represents a sustainable highland environment where terrain and local knowledge come together to create a harmonious way of life in the elevated regions of Oman. Balcony Walk is a pathway carved along the side of Jebel Shams, stretching for several miles across natural rock and opening into deep views of the valley below. Its route hugs the cliff face, making the trail feel like a balcony of the mountain, where the layered structure of the Al Hajar range can be clearly observed. The rock layers along the path reveal formations compressed and uplifted over long tectonic processes. Many parts of the surface show long scratches created when rock masses shifted in the past. This combination of altitude and geological markings makes Balcony Walk a valuable site for observing the formation of Oman's mountain landscape. For this reason, Balcony Walk is considered a clear example of the geological force of Al Hajar, where time and the movement of the Earth's crust have shaped a pathway of raw and striking beauty. Sumhuram Archaeological Park is an ancient site located near the mouth of Khor Rori in the Dhofar region, where many old stone structures still retain clear form. Its position near deep water creates a distinctive setting, with the settlement situated between elevated ground and the channel leading to the sea. Viewpoints from higher ground reveal the entire river mouth and the flowing water leading to the sea. From here, one can clearly observe how the landscape channels the flow into the central area, creating an open space where land and water meet. For this reason, Sumhuram Archaeological Park holds the value of an archaeological site set within a rare natural environment, where terrain, stone, and water come together to shape a clearly defined space in the Dhofar region. Jabrin Fort is an important fortress of Oman's interior, built in the 17th century to oversee nearby settlements and control the routes leading toward the central region. Its position on broad, flat land allowed the structure to maintain a natural vantage point over the surroundings, making it a landmark of al-Dakhiliyah. The fort was constructed from local stone and fired earth, forming a solid structure well suited to the dry plateau environment. This choice of materials reflects the community's ability to use available resources and the building techniques developed over many generations of inland life. A distinctive aspect of Jabrin Fort lies in the scholarly functions once maintained here. Several rooms were used to store manuscripts, legal records, and old documents related to regional governance, showing Jabrin's role as a center for receiving and preserving knowledge in the past. For this reason, Jabrin Fort is more than a defensive structure. It represents the combination of terrain and learning, creating lasting value for Oman's interior communities across generations. Wadi Tiwi is a well-known limestone valley in eastern Oman, stretching about 6 miles between high mountain ranges. Fresh water from the plateau flows downward through narrow channels, forming small pools and smooth rock surfaces, giving the valley a rare greenery within an otherwise arid region. The water supply of Wadi Tiwi remains active year-round thanks to stable underground springs. This steady flow allows vegetation along the valley to survive even in the hottest months, creating a clear contrast with the surrounding desert. Many observers see Wadi Tiwi as a prime example of how underground water systems shape the landscape of eastern Oman. The path through the valley is narrow and closely follows the steep cliff walls. About 1 mile inward, visitors encounter natural clear pools where the sounds of wind and flowing water blend, offering a feeling of separation from the pace of the outside world. For this reason, Wadi Tiwi stands as proof of the power of water in harsh environments, showing that even a small flow can create a lively, thriving space amid Oman's rocky terrain. Wadi Shab is a famous valley in eastern Oman, where fresh water flows between high cliffs, creating a rare landscape in such a dry climate. The area stretches about 4 miles, combining limestone terrain, streams, and small pools, making it a familiar trekking destination for travelers. The most distinctive feature of Wadi Shab is its year-round jade green water. The flow originates from mountain springs, nourishing the vegetation along the valley and forming green pockets that contrast with the surrounding desert. Locals consider it an essential part of the region's ecological life. The entrance to the valley begins with a short boat ride, followed by a trail nearly 1 mile long, running along the cliffs. Visitors often choose to stop at the early pools to rest and enjoy air cooler than most of eastern Oman. Wadi Shab is more than a natural attraction. It is proof of the resilience of water in harsh environments, reminding us that even among rock and desert, life can spread and form a deep bond between people and the nature of Oman. Mutrah Corniche is the well-known waterfront promenade of Muscat, stretching about 1.9 miles along the Gulf. It was once a gateway for commerce when merchant ships from India and East Africa arrived, and it served as the link between Muttrah Souq and the Old Harbour. Today, it remains one of the city's most important open public spaces. In the morning, Mutrah Corniche carries the rhythm of fishermen returning with the scent of salty wind. By afternoon, people stroll along the sidewalk, nearly 40 feet wide, creating a gentle and familiar scene. The atmosphere shifts from hour to hour, giving the place a constant sense of freshness. A few hundred feet farther toward the mountain base, visitors find old watchtowers that once protected the Gulf. These towers sit scattered across the rocky slopes, recalling the time when Muttrah served as a checkpoint for passing ships. Mutrah Corniche is more than a coastal road. It is where sea, mountains, and people blend together, offering a sense of peace that stays with anyone who passes through. Sur Town is an important coastal settlement in eastern Oman, once serving as a major gateway on the maritime route linking the Gulf with India and East Africa. Thanks to its position along the Gulf of Oman, it became a familiar anchorage for merchant ships for centuries and a lively maritime center of the Sharqiya region. The coastline of Sur stretches widely, with several shoreline sections still functioning as open-air shipyards. Visitors can watch craftsmen sanding timber, raising frames, or finishing hulls directly on the sand. The sound of waves mixed with the tapping of tools creates the distinct atmosphere of the town. Fazayah Beach is one of the lesser-known shorelines of the Dhofar region, stretching across a series of small sandy coves set between high rocky edges. The landscape is divided into separate sections, forming a chain of secluded beaches, each with its own characteristics depending on slope and distance to the waterline. The sea at Fazayah has a clear blue color thanks to minimal boat activity. Some coves have smooth, evenly layered sand, while others feature natural rock formations that give each area a distinct shape. This variation across the coastline is what sets Fazayah apart from the continuous beaches typically found in Dhofar. High points along the cliffs open wide views of the entire coast. From these spots, one can see each wave layer approaching the small sandy segments and how the terrain divides the shoreline into separate parts. These vantage points make the coastal structure clear and easy to recognize. For this reason, Fazayah Beach holds the value of a layered, untouched coastline where natural terrain creates a chain of independent coves and reflects the distinct diversity of southern Oman. Turtle Beach is a well-known shoreline in eastern Oman, where sea turtles come ashore during specific seasons each year. Its wide sand stretch and isolated position away from residential areas create ideal conditions for mother turtles to reach the beach at night. Thanks to its stable natural setting, it is considered one of Sharqiya's most important sites for marine conservation. The nearshore water stays clear and blue due to light ocean currents that keep the temperature steady along the sand. This helps turtles dig nests more easily and increases the chances of egg development. During the breeding season, conservation teams intensify monitoring efforts to limit artificial light and noise. Standing at the edge of the beach, visitors hear the steady, gentle sound of waves. The wind, from the rocky terrace behind, blends with the water's rhythm, creating a rare quietness, especially on moonless nights. For this reason, Turtle Beach holds meaning beyond scenery. It represents the resilience of sea turtles and reminds us that nature continues to thrive only when people protect the coasts that sustain it. The Royal Opera House is the first national theatre of Oman, introduced to the public in the year 2011 as a milestone in the country's ambition to bring world arts to the Middle East. The venue holds about 1,100 seats, but what makes it truly remarkable is its role in opening the way for Muscat to become a new cultural center in the region. Beyond numbers, the theatre impresses through the way it operates. Its schedule changes constantly, with opera, symphony concerts, ballet, and contemporary performances. Locals say each season carries its own character. Because of this, the cafes and artistic spaces around the area are always lively, creating a rhythm of life unique to Muscat. Visitors often pause at the front plaza, an open space of nearly 70,000 square feet. Many see it as a cultural meeting point, spacious enough for conversation, yet dignified enough to prepare for entering a world of music. The Royal Opera House ultimately remains a place where art performs its most familiar work. It helps people slow down, open their hearts, and find connection in the sounds that make the entire city feel softer under the night lights. Muttrah Souq is the most famous historic market in Muscat, formed more than 2 centuries ago and once a major trading point for frankincense along the Arab commerce routes. It is considered one of the oldest covered markets in the Gulf, where many Omani families have continued trading for generations, preserving an ancient rhythm of life within a modern city. The strongest appeal of Mutrah Souq lies in the variety of goods and its traditional trading style. Frankincense, engraved silver, woven scarves, and spices from across the peninsula appear throughout the seasons. Walking through the main passage, nearly 1,600 feet long, one can sense the entire trading history of Oman through the merchants' calls, the scent of incense, and the sound of footsteps on stone. The narrow side alleys lead visitors to older stalls. Here, elderly artisans still preserve handcrafting techniques, especially in silver jewelry, and nomadic-style items once tied to desert life. A few shops even keep antique pieces regarded as remnants of old voyages across the Indian Ocean. For this reason, Muttrah Souq is more than a place to shop. It is the living memory of Muscat, where merchants, travelers, and maritime stories meet, keeping the spirit of the city forever connected to the sea and to its traditions. Al-Alam Palace is the ceremonial palace of the Omani royal family, rebuilt in the early 20th century on the foundation of an older residence. The palace sits in the most important area of Muscat, positioned between the Al-Jalali and Al-Mirani forts, and has long been seen as the focal point of power in the capital. The palace's most prominent role is hosting heads of state and holding high-level ceremonies. Visitors cannot enter the interior, but they can stand in the front courtyard, which stretches nearly 500 feet, to view the full scene. The atmosphere here feels both dignified and quiet. From the palace grounds, small pathways lead toward the old harbour, revealing the close connection between the royal household and the sea. This location once helped past dynasties monitor merchant activity across the Gulf. For this reason, Al Alam Palace carries more than political meaning. It is a reminder that Muscat's strength comes from the harmony between tradition, the sea, and the enduring spirit of the Omani people.